Hi, Paya. Welcome to your Voxer day. I'm super excited that we get a chance to talk today. Just a friendly reminder, we will have open talk time together as much or as little as you want between 10 a.m. Pacific today to 4 p.m. Pacific. And you and I are on the same time zone. So if you think of things that come in after, that's a really natural feeling. What I would recommend is don't feel like you have to talk all day. Feel just know that you can pop in with little things that come to your mind, or you can take some time to reflect right now on kind of what you want to get out of the day today. We can touch on mindset related things. If you want me to pull some cards and give you some intuitive guidance, I can do that as well. Obviously, within a 6 hour container, there's a certain amount we can do, and there's an amount that we might not be able to get to in that 6 hours. The point is not that we solve for world peace in 6 hours. What we're going to do is we are going to touch on things that are very top of mind. My goal for you is that by the time we're done today at 4 p.m., you feel like you've been able to feel seen and heard, and you feel like you've been able to articulate more of the things that you are trying to solve for right now. So, use this space to do that. It's okay if your words come out in a hot mess. It's okay if you feel like you're rambling. If you're using the free version of Voxer, just a quick heads up, remember that there's sort of like a 15-minute cutoff, which is actually kind of a nice thing because it keeps us from sort of over rambling. But you are welcome to like fill up the whole 15 minutes if you want to, and then you're welcome to start it over again. Just know that throughout our time today, I will be getting to your messages and then I will respond to them accordingly. Um, and if you feel like you need more after today, just remember there's always more that we can do together. But one thing I would recommend that you do right now is just take a nice deep belly breath in and then let it go. And just know that you're not missing out on anything. We're not running out of any time. We have plenty of time together to talk and work through the projects that you're working on. I will prime the pump a little bit and say that I saw your intake form. I saw that you have two offers that are really top of mind right now. You've got your Pathway to a VA course that you're thinking about. Sounds like you're thinking about using that as a prerequisite for people doing the full virtual assistant packages with you. And then you also have your other offer, which is brand new, the Hype B media placement packages. So if you need to take a moment, you do not have to respond to this message right away. You can type things out or you can talk. You can do both. Take a moment to think about where you would like to start, and we'll take it from there. So I will talk to you in just a little bit.
Hi, thank you so much for that. Mostly for the reminder to breathe, um, because I get so excited when I think about these things that sometimes that like is not the first thing that I'm thinking about. So yeah, I think for the purposes of this um, this Voxer Day, I want to explore this pathway program a little bit more. I had this idea from another like a challenge program kind of thing, and I in my head at the time it was like, oh, it's just something easy and small that I can offer. And the idea behind the program is that I have worked with people that aren't really ready to have a VA on like their team, or and that like is not just financially, but like their business systems are just not set up to have someone else come in. And then there is the argument of like, well, isn't a VA supposed to help them get ready or whatever? And not really, not really. Like there's a lot of VA, like the bare minimum sometimes, like um, a password storing program, whether it be LastPass or Bitwarden or whatever. Like I've worked with people who were texting me usernames and passwords, or like putting them in an email, which it's not secure. And so there are a lot of VAs who aren't like what they do is not to do that. So it's like to basically assess the way I see it in my head. This is all over the place already. Um, the way I see this in my head is like a 4-week program where in 1 week it's like an assessment week and goals, more mindset, like why do you feel you need to hire someone? Why do you think you need a VA? What are the bottlenecks in your business? Have you lost business because of some systems breakdown? And then if the answer to that is an immediate yes, then the next 3 weeks would be super beneficial. But I don't want to exclude people who maybe you're not trying to hire a VA immediately, but maybe this is something that you've projected for your business in like the next 3, 6, 9 months, right? So first week is like assessment, mindset, overview, like that kind of vibe. Second week is getting ready. So setting up, figuring out where all your business stuff is. Is it on Google Drive? Is it on OneDrive? Like things like that. Setting up a password keeper. Um, Making sure you have SOPs in your business and all of that. And then there's like, so in my head when I think about this, the way and it's not going to be these words, I don't think, but it's like get ready, get set, go. So the get ready is like assess, figure out what you need, like make a to-do list of all the things that you need in order to hire this VA. And then the get set part is like making sure those things are in place. Also writing a job description, deciding what are the tasks that you're going to be giving this new VA. What are you, like maybe you do need someone to help you get your shit together, which is totally fine. But then you need to advertise it that way. You're not going to say, hey, I need a marketing VA, because you want that person to take over your social media and like help you do all of that. And then when they get there, you don't know where your passwords are. There is no copy. There is no email service provider. Like there's none of that, because a marketing VA may not want to have to set that up. And then so in that, like, I guess implementation, I don't know. I've never run a course before, as you can probably tell. Like having them set that up and then walking them through the process of like writing a job description and writing a job description, knowing where to post those things, where, like how to hire someone, what you should ask in an interview, the things that you want to know, the importance of asking for references and all of that. And then helping them hire, like once they make their decision, like onboarding that person. I feel like this was more put together when I'm talking to myself, but now that I'm like trying to explain it to someone, it sounds messy. But yeah, so that's it. That's my rambly mess right now. So I cannot wait to hear your response, and like we can figure out hopefully what the F, literally. Okay, bye.
First of all, you are not a hot mess. It's a lot of information coming at you. You're the expert on providing VA services. So the big plus is you've seen the pattern already amongst the leads that have come into you and in supporting some people. What I would say is that, okay, so in running a group, you have a lot of market validation. And one of the things I want to know from you is, do you feel like you already have a ready pool of people who would already fit this container, and we'll define the container more? Or do you feel like you would have to find people to do this with you? Let me know where you're at with that. And then the other part, as far as doing a group program, it is different for sure. And one of the things you'll know by doing this first round is if you feel like it's something you want to continue doing in a group format, because up till now your VA clients have been one-on-one. So this will be interesting. But I really love the idea of you creating this as a prerequisite, which you put on that intake form. And, kind of like you just described, like there are certain things that have to be set up that make the relationship have a higher ROI. And if you can help your people get a higher ROI by paying less upfront, I mean, that's a huge win-win on all the ends. So, yeah, let me know where you're at in terms of who has been coming to you so far. And then let's figure out what next steps should be. I guess another follow-up question too that you could answer or start noodling on, and if you want to just messy talk it out, that's fine too. But when you have a group program, at some point you've got to pick a date to start. And so the reason why I'm starting with like who's already in your pipeline is because that will help you better determine, are you going to run this sooner rather than later? And of course, you've also got your own schedule. So start also kind of tying the dots together, connecting those dots of who you've got, when you might possibly offer this, and then let's see where your answers come out on that. Because I think you're a lot closer to putting this out into the world, getting paid for it and running it so you can get some data back. I think you're a lot closer than you believe you are, because it is weird. You've not done it before. And that feels very daunting. It feels very daunting the first time, but it comes together very quickly when you have people and you have a payment system, which you already have in place, so that makes it easy. And you have clarity on the offer in terms of not just the things, but like the scope. For the amount of time, there's a scope of what you can offer. So let's start digging into these things. Take your time. Let me know what you come back with, and I will be here for you. Okay, bye.
Hi. So yes, I do have, I'm going to answer this all over. Yes, I do have a way for people to pay me. At first, I thought that like I needed recorded videos and worksheets and all of that, when really I don't. I need Zoom because I'm planning to run it on Zoom. And then like, I guess we could have like documents in a Google Drive. Like I'm trying really not to overthink it, because I'm the type of person who would add like a ton of unnecessary bells and whistles for the sake of complication, honestly. I do want it to be. I think the more I talk about this offer, I do think this needs to become mandatory onboarding for my new VA clients, because I think I wrote this on my forum, but I'm not sure. I had closed to new clients for almost something like 18 months. I fired a bunch of clients who were not good fits, but I was, scale or whatever. And so I took a bunch of clients that I didn't really necessarily want to work with. And then I guess you could call it burnout or whatever. I closed to new clients and only kept like my two hardcore clients that I had been working with for a super long time. And that's who I did business with. So even I've been talking about the idea of opening back up to new clients. I kind of put that out into the world, which is great. But can they not be messy? Like, can y'all just not be messy? Also, so to answer your question, the people, I did 2 presentations last week, and they were to 2 very different communities, kind of about this idea and why I think it's so important to be ready to hire someone on your team. And from those 2 presentations, so in the first one, there was maybe a dozen people, and these are more like established, businesses, people who, have figured out to the point where like they're making consistent income. Some of them are making, high 5 figures or 6-figure businesses. And then the other one was more aspiring, starting out, like, could I really make this a business? kind of people. Some of them do have businesses, but maybe in the mid-range to lower range of 5 figures a year from their business, or it's like their side hustle. And from those two, and there were like maybe like 18 to 20 people in that second group, maybe. Um, but it ended up, my offer to them was, you know, I'll give you a free 45-minute call where we can basically assess your business and figure out where on the spectrum of like, do you even need a VA? Are you kind of thing? And people were super responsive to that. And then, so I booked 20 calls from those people, like throughout September. My first four, I did have one, but it didn't really come from the presentation. I was introduced to this person and she hired me to do something completely different. Although I'm not opposed to reaching out to her again and saying, hey, I'm running this thing. My first four calls are on Saturday, which I love that it's on a Saturday because I feel like people, we all, even though we're entrepreneurs and we make our own schedules or whatever, like we're also trying to reclaim our weekends. But I think Saturday allows for a lot more space and grace where people are more intentionally thinking about their business and the future of their business and all of that. Because during the week, they're all client facing and those things. So I do have 20 conversations booked where I could, my plan, yes, I'm going to give them a business assessment, but this is also market research for me to do, it's also market research for me to figure out like what they need. Is what I'm trying to offer something that they feel they need? Is it helpful? Does it need to be nuanced from like a baby entrepreneur to an established entrepreneur? And what are those nuances? As far as a date, so in my calendar, before the summer, I think, in my calendar, I booked time to run this like the month starting the week of October 3rd. Which sounds super far away, but that's in like legit 4 weeks. So I would have to get my shit together in 4 weeks. And saying that out loud, like part of that is super exciting because it's like a challenge to myself. Like, can I run this? Can I get enough people? What is enough people? What do I charge for this? Because none of those things are things that have entered like my realm of thinking yet. And then, so week of October 3rd, I also kind of want to run this twice before the new year. I want to run it one time very messily, knowing that it's not, by any means perfect. And then I want to run it again slightly more together, where it's not like, not wedding ready, but like rehearsal dinner, where you're, almost everything is cool and you're wearing some whatever outfit, but it's not like the big day. So, and I realized that apart from like me getting it together in order to run two of them, holidays are coming, and I know that there's a ton of different holidays starting Halloween, so it's like I really only have a month to start. I think in my head it makes sense where I would start one the first week of October, and then on the third week of October start a second cohort, so they kind of overlap for 2 weeks. But yeah, and then it's so funny, when I was listening to your second note, I actually found some of my notes for this program when I first started thinking about it, and helping them hire was not part of it. That was an upsell that I was like, I'll teach them how to write a job description and how to set up their first meeting and their quarterly review, but if you actually want me to hold your hand during that process, that's something you could buy additionally. And I don't know if that's me being a smart-ish adjacent business person, or if that's just me adding a complication, because that gives me an excuse to not move forward, which is kind of why I booked this, because I need to make it make sense. I need to stop dragging my feet because I legit have been talking about this concept for too long for me not to run it. And I have bigger dreams and bigger goals and other offers that I want to do. So I need to just get moving. I feel in myself a sense of urgency to get moving. I just don't know how to do that with this program because it is not one-on-one, and I've been super comfortable with one-on-one because that's how I've been running my business for all these years. But I love this. I love these questions. Keep them coming because this is helping me. I feel like this is gonna help me really wrap my head around what this could do. And like, what do you think about October? Like that week, the first full week of October. Am I like kidding myself? Is this possible? I mean, I know all things are possible, but is it really possible? Is what I need to know. Okay. Can't wait to hear your response. Bye.
Okay, I am loving where you're going with this. I love the fearless tone that you have. It shows me a lot about what's going on in your mindset, which is really good. I mean, the baseline message here is be scrappy, go quick. You have the elements lined up. I love that you went into communities and instinctively already pulled in 20 people, which is awesome, onto your calendar. If you have the pipeline to overlap those cohorts, I would say go with it. The other way you can approach it is, let's say you talk to the 20 people and just random numbers here. Let's pretend that 15 out of the 20 are like, you know what, now's the time, I'm ready. And let's say that for the sake of math that I can do in my head here, let's say that 10 of them are like, I am past, the offer market piloting phase, and like they can talk on the same level and dig into things in the same way. You could stick them in a cohort. And let's say you've got 5 real baby entrepreneurs who are like, well, everywhere I hear is I should get help. And they genuinely possibly need help, but doing Pathway to a VA would help them determine what do they actually need to do themselves first, and then where can they pull in help as they grow. Because your more advanced people may not want to be in that cohort with them. And if you're able to overlap those or just simply run them simultaneously, do it. I think one of my clarifying questions for you is like, why the gap? Why one starting on October 1st and then another one 3 weeks later if it looks right now like you have pipeline for all of that. One of the other questions I would also ask yourself is, and this is kind of hard to do when you haven't done group programs and you're going from one-to-one to one-to-many, is to learn for yourself where your personal comfort zone limits are and also where your zone of genius can function best. So, you don't want to end up overpacking the people in your pilot and then feeling like you can't pay enough attention to them. Conversely, you don't want it so thin that you're not bringing in the revenue at that one-to-many rate that makes it worthwhile. So generally speaking, I would say like 10 to 12 people in your first group is more than enough. I'm actually a really, really big fan of smaller cohorts. As you know, you've been doing other things with me too. So I would say launch now. Yes, October is a huge hell yes. You can definitely run this 2 times before New Year's with the way that you've been generating traffic and leads. I think that's very doable. What I would recommend doing is get this cohort in October done. There's a nice timing here. You are out of back to school season and it's before the holidays. And whether or not we like to admit it, we are all trained on some level to fall into the school year calendar from growing up. And I think it's a really good time to get that out the door. You've also got hot interest right now, so don't let that sit. I would also say consider your energy requirements during fulfillment, and in addition to like how big are your cohorts. I would also say, like, in terms of avoiding scope creep, which kind of showed up in your last voice note, we want to make sure that you don't end up accidentally overpacking your content. Sometimes we do things like this because we think, oh, maybe they won't see the value, or maybe, you know, like, I'm feeling those fraudy feelings and I feel like maybe they won't give me that great testimonial if I don't go above and beyond. And usually that can just simply be too much. You're probably going to discover you do that naturally anyways, and that's why you want this first group to go, so that you can reevaluate, not necessarily repackage, but just make adjustments so that you can run that next group before New Year's. Now, I have a very personal opinion about the whole holiday time. There are some people who are like, oh, be cautious, et cetera, et cetera. I actually really love the holidays. I relaunched Sensible Woo during a holiday period. I don't think holidays are an automatic hands off, don't touch it time period. And I don't think that people are that distracted. Collectively, I really have noticed that COVID has rearranged our brain cells quite a bit. People are realizing that we live in a both and world, even if they're having difficulty really getting into the rhythm of it. But um, that hurdle of, like, can I be with my family for the holidays and also still work on my business? People are learning that those things are not mutually exclusive, that they can coincide at the same time. They can run in tandem, and it doesn't mean that you're burning out by doing that. So I think that you will find a cohort of people who are going to want that from you. Yeah, I would say at this point, the question is, how do you want to package up your pricing? Do you want to talk about any money mindset hurdles? Have you done the math for your goal? So, knowing you and also hearing your voice notes here, I can tell that you definitely have your revenue goals. So, where are you at with those? How do you want this to perform? And then let's start doing some scrappy math so you can set your good, better, best goals. And once you have that, then you're ready to, literally just put this on a Google Doc. From doing the work with you already, I know you've got your Podia pages, so you can throw it in there too. But I would get that payment button ready so that you can make it easy to get paid. I have a feeling that with your conversations coming up this weekend, which, by the way, I think is really smart, the fact that they're booking on the weekend just tells you they really want to talk. And let's see if you can pre-sell some seats. Like, I would challenge you, right now we're chatting on a Thursday, I would challenge you to finish up your Voxer day with me, and on Friday, get the payment button ready, get the nuts and bolts, just a simple outline. Literally, you can copy and paste it from a Google Doc onto that Podia page, so that when you talk to people on Saturday, if they're ready to go, just lead them into the page and pre-sell those seats. And that way you can get ready to go with it. I think what you need to figure out is, do you want to just have one pay in full price, or do you want to have pay in full and a combination of installments? So let me know where you're at with that, so we can make sure that you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and making sure that it's fair for you too as a service provider. Okay, I will wait for your reply.